Hello there, friend. Kelly here from Hope in the Chaos. And I am so glad that you are joining me today. Today, I want to talk all about the 5 simple steps that you need to take if you want to start your homeschool journey today or tomorrow or next week. If you've been thinking about homeschooling, chances are you're a little overwhelmed by the process, right? Whether you just have littles at home and you're just kind of thinking you don't want to send them to public school, or perhaps you're thinking that the current season is the right time to transition. I'm recording this in December. We're right in between the holidays, and January is a really common time for new families to join homeschoolers. Odds are you're overwhelmed. And I say that not to call you out, but because I remember I've been there. There was a time when I was scouring the internet, researching and typing how to homeschool and how to start homeschooling and into my search bar, and just I was overwhelmed, right? Because I didn't know where to start. Everyone made it look so easy. They made it look so simple, and yet it felt so complicated. It was a foreign language of sorts, and all I knew is that I wanted my kids home, right? We were in the public school system and I wanted out. I just wasn't quite sure how to get there, right? I was afraid and confused, and the information was just overwhelming. And so when I say that you're probably feeling that way, I get it. It's not judgment, okay? If you're thinking about homeschooling and you don't know where to start, friend, that's completely normal, right? First generation homeschoolers, we don't know. Our second generation homeschool friends, there's a wealth of knowledge there, and they have some insights that we don't. But for many of us, this is new. We went to public school and we know we want to do something different for our children. So, who am I? Why are you going to listen to me, right? If you just found me thanks to some Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever search, right? If the internet has brought us together, you probably want to know who is this lady. And as I said, my name's Kelly. I run a homeschooling support website that I call Hope in the Chaos. And I try to provide you with homeschool help and humor, so that you can find the hope in the chaos of life, of homeschooling and raising children. I've been a homeschool mom for more than a decade now, and I have 2 homeschool graduates. Does that mean I know everything? No, ma'am, right? And you're never going to get me to say that because I am also learning. But I've walked this road. I have started our homeschool journey, and I remember what it was like. I remember just being overwhelmed, being confused, being intimidated by some of the terms and the information that I was reading. And it held me back from starting. And so one thing I want to do is I want you to know that this doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complex or terrifying. And you can homeschool, and it can be done in a very simple way. I've been right where you are, friend. And I'm here to say it gets easier. You do get to the other side. And, if you go long enough, you might even hand out a diploma or two, which I have had the pleasure of doing. If your quick mental math is going, wait, homeschooling more than a decade, but she's got multiple graduates, you're right. We started out in the public school system, and I withdrew in the middle of the school year. So I get it. I've been there, confused, overwhelmed, and just unsure, but knowing deep in my heart that this was right. So many times, and again, I was guilty of this. I thought I had to have everything figured out. I had to select the perfect curricula. I had to have a schedule. I had to do it all, but I didn't. And you don't either. And that's why I want to talk about 5 simple steps to help you get started homeschooling, right? Because while it's super fun to look through curricula options, I'm a wicked homeschool junkie myself, that doesn't help you get started. It doesn't help you withdraw your kids from school or have the confidence to just keep your pre-K or kindergarten student home, right? You can do that later, right? Once you've spent some time with your kids at home, teaching them, guiding them, working through this, okay? You don't need the perfect schedule. And in fact, I'd encourage you not to make one. I've done it. I had a beautiful schedule. It was laminated. I'm a type A. What can I say? Um, but it wasn't necessary, and it actually made things harder. I share that a lot, by the way. Um, but this belief that you have to have everything figured out before you start homeschooling, it's actually keeping you stuck. Because much like you had no idea what you were going to do with that baby or that toddler or that little kid, and you figured it out along the way, homeschooling's a lot like that. We learn on the go. We adapt, we improvise, and we change where we need to. Because here's the thing. Here's the big secret. You don't need to know everything about homeschooling to get started. You just need to know what the next right step is. So, what is the next right step? Well, first I'd say, do you want to homeschool? If the answer is yes, congratulations, friend. Now you need to start looking at what the laws that govern your homeschool area say. Some of us have in-depth reporting requirements. Others, we don't have to do much. I live in Maine, so I'm kind of middle of the road. I have some reporting requirements, and I make sure I hit them every year because the one thing I'll never tell you to do is do anything that gets you in a bit of trouble, right? I may not agree with all of the reporting requirements, but I'm going to encourage you to follow them. Now, I'm not a lawyer, right? And I do not pretend to be one. I'm a homeschool mom. I'm a homeschool advocate, and I'll be your homeschool cheerleader if you need that too, right? I am not a lawyer. So I always deflect. I think that might be the word I'm looking for. It might not be. But I will always tell you to check with your state Department of Education, or if you're not in the United States, check with the governing agency for your country. I will also always highly recommend the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. They are my go-to for all things legal question, and they have links to all of the reporting requirements for the 50 states. They make it super easy for you to understand, and sometimes they'll even help you connect with other homeschoolers. Okay, so that's step number one, by the way. Know the laws, which, okay, you might get a little hung up on that one. Don't let it get you hung up. Okay, look for, do I need to file a letter of intent? Do I just withdraw? How soon do I have to file the letter of intent? Those are the quick, easy answers. Boom. If you need to file one before you withdraw, make sure you file it. If you can file it like within 10 days of starting, then just pull your kids and put a mark on the calendar. Okay. Another great resource is going to be your local homeschool groups and organizations. If there's a co-op or if there is an umbrella school, they're going to be able to help you to make sure that you file all those things. Number two, I want you to know your why. Why are you homeschooling? Do you just want to snuggle those babies a little longer? Is there a bullying issue in your kid's current school? Are you looking to provide a faith-based education? These are all amazing things. And we all have different reasons for homeschooling. And again, I'm going to let you know a little secret. Giving away secrets. Your why is going to change. The reason that you have for homeschooling today is probably not going to be the same one 3, 5, 7 years down the road. And that's okay too. But know your why and write it down. Record it somewhere. Adapt it, change it, let it grow. It's going to show you your homeschool journey. So it's an amazing thing to keep over the years. But it's important to have because I'm probably not supposed to tell you this, but full disclosure, homeschooling is not always easy. In fact, there are times when it's downright hard, but it's still doable. Because just like parenting or marriage or building a house or having a job is hard, homeschooling is too. Hard doesn't mean that you're not cut out for it, that you shouldn't be doing it. It just means that it's difficult. And often the best things in life are difficult. So know your laws, know your why. Now, number three, what are your family dynamics? Do you have a busy household? Do you have a slow household? Do you have introverts, extroverts? Does someone work an odd schedule that you need to work around? Is there a learning disability or perhaps a medical issue that is going to make a typical schedule challenging? These are all things that I want you to consider. They're not things that I want you to go, oh, well, I can't homeschool. No, We can work around anything as homeschoolers. In fact, that's one of the things that we do as homeschoolers. We learn how to adapt and we make life fit. Now, sometimes we find ourselves in seasons where homeschooling has to pause, right? Perhaps there's a sick grandparent, a family emergency. Perhaps someone in the home gets the flu or has an illness, an injury, right? Perhaps we pause because there's a natural disaster or some other life event. Those are one of the benefits of homeschooling because we can do that. So understand your family dynamics. That's number three. And that one can take a little more time, but I actually have a printout of all of these reasons with plenty of space, extra prompts, more information for you to download. It's free and it's linked wherever you're watching this, whether it's in the description or the show notes or however we want to describe it, right? It's called My 5 Simple Steps to Starting Your Homeschool Journey, and it's absolutely free. It's going to walk you through. I'd love for you to grab a copy and just hang out with me because we're going to go over the rest, right? Um, Number 4, learn about homeschooling. I think you're doing that right now. I think you're doing that right now, friend. And you've probably already been doing that, right? And you can't learn all that there is to know about homeschooling in one video. You can't learn it all in one blog post or even one book. But, and I'm going to link these below as well, I have some amazing resources. Some of them are mine. Some of them are from my favorite homeschool educators that are walking along me with my journey and they're helping me, right? So yeah, you're going to learn about homeschooling and understand that this step 4, this is going to be a lifetime gig for you because you're always going to be growing and learning and adapting right alongside your children. Now, number 5, this is the best one. You're going to pick your start date. Now, is that tomorrow? I hope so, because I want you to start while you're excited. But if it's next week or next month, that's okay too. Don't give yourself too long of a runway though, because there is a chance you may just decide not to do it, right? Now, like I said, we just went through all 5 reasons, but I've got this free download. It's a PDF workbook, right? That you can write in, take notes, record thoughts. Why do you want to grab it? Well, because we're going to break this down into manageable steps. I'm going to help you focus on what really matters most and show you what you need to do today so you can get started tomorrow or next week or next month. But I'm not a huge fan of that option, right? I'm going to help you, right? I even have a link for the HSLDA so that you can stay legal because that is important, right? I'm going to show you how to work out your why. Why are you homeschooling? You just want your babies home. That's okay. Is your child being bullied at school? That's an okay reason too. Are you not sure on your why? You just know there's something in your heart telling you not to put your 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old on the bus. That's okay too, right? And like I said earlier, it is okay if your why changes. In fact, I encourage all homeschoolers to evaluate their why every single year so that you can keep that right in your heart at the core of who you are and why you're homeschooling, right? And of course, most importantly, we're not going to be overwhelmed with this process, but I'm going to give you a simple plan in these 5 simple steps, not a pile of to-dos or just leaving you feel overwhelmed again, right? I'm going to walk with you because what you need more than anything is just a friend to come alongside and say, yeah, you can do this. And as I said, I am here to be your homeschool helper, your homeschool advocate, and your homeschool cheerleader, whatever you need. If it's all 3, great. If you only need one, let me know, right? Now, again, if you are looking at homeschooling for the first time, great, congratulations. Welcome to the community, friend. We, for the most part, are a warm and inviting community. Sure, you might find some less than lovely people alongside, but it happens, right? And whether you were looking at starting in January, March, April, June, it doesn't matter. You can start homeschooling anytime. It doesn't have to be September. If you don't want to send your kids back to public school whenever the school break ends, you don't have to. It's not required. Education is, right? And like I said, we got to keep things legal around here, but you can keep them home. Now, if you're craving a simpler, calmer approach to homeschooling, friend, I invite you grab the 5 simple steps. It's going to start you on the path. And I have many more resources that can help you. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time, but you're not here to hear about me. You're here to find solutions for you. And that's the part that's important. So you don't need to be stuck in fear, confusion, overwhelm, friend. Grab your free download using the link probably below because that's where descriptions usually are, right? Print it, grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea and a pen and start working on it today. Take one small step today that gets you that much closer to homeschooling than you are. Now, I am a firm believer that you could be homeschooling tomorrow because you really need your 5 simple steps and an adventurous attitude, right? A willingness to learn, the ability to adapt and think on your feet. And you know what, friend? If you're already scouring the internet for resources and help, then I already know you have what it takes to be a success at homeschooling because you're willing to put in the effort to learn how to do it. So grab your guide, right? Download the copy, print it so that you can start homeschooling with confidence. Okay? You're capable of more than you think, friend. And I am here to remind you that homeschooling doesn't have to look like school. It doesn't have to look like what you see on Pinterest or Instagram. You don't need a perfectly curated homeschool room. You don't need the most amazing binder. Um, you don't have to have posters on the wall yet or even a cute little sign, right? But you can start homeschooling today, tomorrow, next week, right? Because you already have what you need, the willingness to try. And if you'll allow me to join you, a community of other homeschoolers who are going to help you along the way, right? Because you don't want to do this alone. And you don't have to do this alone. So, friend, thank you so much for watching. I am Kelly with Hope in the Chaos. I really hope you grab the freebie. And if not, that's okay if it's not for you. But if you have questions, drop them in the comments. And if you are a homeschooler who got through this whole video, right? Perhaps you had a few minutes on your time, and you have a tip for other homeschoolers, feel free to drop that below too, because I am not about gatekeeping homeschool help. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. Happy homeschooling.